Hello, friends. Welcome to Asking Pastor Jen. This is a time where you can send questions to me and I'll do my best to answer them. You can ask me questions about pretty much anything, and I will do my best to answer those questions. If you have a question that you would like to send, you can have a grown-up send me an email at askpastorjen@gmail.com. You can send me an email at askpastorjen@gmail.com, and I'll put that in the description box as well on the YouTube video. So let's look at today's question that was sent to me by a friend of mine, and she had several questions, but this is the first one I'm going to answer. She asked, what does Jesus look like? And if Jesus is God, they must look alike, right? That is such a good question. And it's a question people have asked for a lot of years. And here's what I know. I don't know a lot because no one has a picture of Jesus. There were no Polaroid cameras invented back then. There were no iPhones with cameras back then. And there are no paintings even of Jesus that we know of that were done when he was alive. And after he died, he rose up to heaven and lives there. And so we can't see him. So we don't have a picture of him. We don't have a painting of him, and we cannot see him. So that makes it pretty tough to know what Jesus looks like. But we can estimate some things about him that could have been true, because we know that he was born and lived in Israel, which is a country in the Middle East. And Jews who live in Israel back then, and even sometimes now as well, have some characteristics that are similar. And so their skin is darker than mine. Not a lot darker, but a little bit darker than like my skin. They typically have darker hair, but we don't know if Jesus had straight hair or wavy hair or curly hair. And Jewish men back then often had facial hair. So it's quite reasonable to think that Jesus might have had like a mustache and beard. And so that's kind of what we know. But I don't know how tall he was, or if he had blue eyes or brown eyes. But we know that he came as a human, so we know he had eyes and ears and hands and feet and a chin and elbows and a throat and all those kinds of things like we have. So that's how much I know about what Jesus might look like. And then you had a question that said, if Jesus is God, then they must look alike, right? Such a good question. When you look at, if you know what your biological mom and dad look like, if you can be around your parents who gave birth to you, you can look to see if there are any similarities. Like here's a picture of my family. This was taken a number of years ago, so we've aged a little bit since this picture. But you can see a little bit how we're similar, right? My son and I have brown eyes. My daughter and my husband have blue eyes. And they also have lighter colored hair. He doesn't have much, you can't see it there. And my son and I had darker hair in this picture, but my daughter's hair has actually darkened over the years. But you know, we have a similar nose and a similar smile. So there are some things you can look at and see, oh, like we might have a similar chin or ears or hair color or eye shape. And you can look at and see what things are similar. But you can also see that there are some things that are different, right? Like in this picture, my daughter's hair is lighter than my hair. And that's okay. Even though we might have some similarities, we have some differences too. I think, you can't tell in this picture, but I think my daughter's face structure is a lot like my husband's family's face structure, but it's hard to tell in this picture. So you can take a look at your family and look at how you're similar and different. And it's similar, I think, with God and Jesus because they are both in the same family. And in fact, it says in the Bible, in John chapter 14, some of the disciples were even wondering about God. And Philip, one of the disciples, said, Jesus, show us the Father. Show us your Father God, and we will be satisfied. Help us know what God is like. And Jesus answered, Philip, don't you even yet know who I am, even after all the time I've been with you? Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. So now those disciples were fortunate because they could see Jesus face to face, right? We don't get to see him face to face, but we get to know what Jesus is like from reading about him. We can see Jesus's kindness and forgiveness and love and patience and righteousness and holiness. And all of those are similar to God, right? There's similarities because Jesus shows us God's righteousness and kindness, but Jesus has a human body and God doesn't. So those are some of the ways that Jesus and God are similar and different. And lastly, I just want to mention that even though we can't see Jesus or touch him or God, that Jesus said, when you do, this is in Matthew chapter 25, the king will tell them, I assure you, when you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were doing it for me. Jesus was talking about when we do something kind and helpful, like even giving someone a cup of water. He says, it's like you're doing it for me. So when I see other people, I try to think, how would I treat this person if I knew this was Jesus? Because Jesus told us how we treat others is how we should treat them is how we would treat Jesus. So we cannot see Jesus, but we can treat other people like Jesus when we see them. So that's my encouragement to you this week, my friends, is to, when you see other people, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your neighbors, that you might think, how should I treat that person if that person were Jesus? And if you should be kind to Jesus, you should be kind to that person too. Okay, this was a long answer. I hope you made it through, and if you have any other questions, please let me know. I would love to talk to you. And always remember, you can ask God any question you have too. Until next time, bye.